Another video dedicated to what is now one of my favorite attacks from Mantis guard, which is kind of entering into an X guard / K guard position and using the control that we have from the Mantis grip, the underhook, to be able to rotate our opponent's leg and threaten the heel hook. This is something that we've been working on. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on how well you're able to make this work for you. One of the common ways that I set this up is either someone standing or kneeling, but I get them to post the head on the far side. So a lot of our Kazushi movements, we've been threatening most of the attacks to that side when we get someone to post on the far leg. But we can also drop people this way, as we talked about with the techniques of buckling at the inside of the knee here or up at the hip. If I can get Kevin to drop and post here, he keeps his hips up because a lot of people do not want to concede the fall here. What I'm looking at doing from here is immediately bringing my knee up to my chest a little bit more, pummeling this leg to the inside, sometimes to the hip, or just to the inside of my knee here. What I'm looking to do is control this inside space so that I can bring my foot to the inside here. And the key part is that I'm creating this inversion of his ankle. And this is what I'm interested to see how well you guys can make this work. Because it's going to be hard to know what this feels like until you actually get good at this. I'm looking at shrugging my shoulder up here at his heel. So I'm not underneath the ankle or the Achilles like this. I have my shoulder right here on the heel, and my head is here at his toes. What I'm looking at doing is not even necessarily closing the circuit, but I want to be able to emphasize that inversion so it feels like a toe hold or even a heel hook with that rotation that inclines Kevin to take this knee. And as I apply this, I can also control the knee like this, and I'm looking to force him to have to bend because he doesn't like this, which now allows me to throw this leg over and hook into his hip for that backside 50-50. And because I have that grip here, I now reach over to grab the toes, and I bring it over into my hip, and I work to create a closed circuit, tight wedging around the knees to be able to move into the heel hook from backside 50-50. That part is key. Because we already have this underhook, we just wanted to find an efficient way that we can start moving into a leg lock, a strong leg lock entanglement, because this obviously blocks me from immediately being able to expose the heel and attack heel hooks. So from this position, I managed to make Kevin buckle and drop like this for a second. And now I'm quickly pummeling my leg in and I'm bringing my knee up higher. So here I go foot to the hip and I bring my knee to the outside. I get this grip as fast as possible. This arm's already hooked and under, so I just need to get my head in tight and I hug this. I'll even bend my head down to the ground to hook this sucker. Now from here, shrugging that shoulder and bringing my hand up and over to help that rotation to lift my elbow, as well as drop my head here to create that rotation to get that bend. We can also threaten knee bars. If we can get Kevin, our opponent, to lift like this, we could certainly move in and just go straight to knee bars. If you wanted IBJJF legal, we can look to put into the armpit and finish from here. But from here, obviously the hot new position is backside 50-50, and for good reason. We're looking to throw that leg over, and we're looking to bring this leg across and going straight into the heel hook. So let's look at other positions. Here, I collapse the knee to make him drop. I circle in, and I hook, and you can see that there's a massive amount of inversion in that ankle. And as he starts to rotate himself, I pummel my leg in, and then once I have the control, I bring the leg over, or I bring the heel over and attack the heel hook. Here, even if Kevin stays on his hips and just flat like this, I rotate. I just adjust myself to get myself under. I have my foot on his hip, so right here in like a K guard, but I have that underhook still. Now from here, I create that inversion, pummel in, then I cross my ankles to then create that tight wedge around the knee line. I grab the toes, I bring it across down to his hip as much as I can, toes in the armpit, rule of thumb just curling right around here at the radial bone so that I can hook that heel hook and finish. We can still do this from a far side Kazushi. So if I manage to move Kevin this way and say he drops down to his knee like this, I could still look at doing the same thing like we talked about moving into X guard, where depending on, like if he's stopping me from being able to from that knee buckle, I can put the foot to the hip and I can adjust and lift himself to move in. I just have to, instead of being on this side of my body, I have to make sure that I can get a tight enough control of his toes and his heel here. And I'm gonna have to start turning myself this way. So if Kevin tries to put a boot on, make it strong that I can't turn his foot, so he's unable to, and I'm having to adjust my hips out the opposite direction. So it's less efficient, but I can certainly still do it. Whereas the other side, because we already started to turn to our left side, much less movement, much more efficient direction for us to go, but it can work both ways. So the key part is, can you make this happen? Because it has to be strong enough that if the person does not move, would you actually hurt them? And so, caveat, I do not know how well this would work against somebody that is extremely flexible or has a certain disregard for like something like maybe a small pop, because I don't know how much it could actually cause pain to somebody, to actually cause harm. So we can reliably do this in the gym, and so hopefully with you guys testing this more, hopefully we can start to test it against more resisting opponents, higher resistance, and see if this thing can actually start to hold up. But either way, we're not taking a risk. We've still got very tight control. Worst case scenario, you're moving into K guard, and you're gonna be able to do subsequent attacks from there, or you're pulling yourself under into X guard, and you're able to launch attacks from there. So safe position. Let me know your thoughts.